I photographed some of the largest sharks in the world: tigers, hammerheads, bulls, and whale sharks. But today we're getting into the water with the king of them all, the great white shark. It's early morning and the first shark is already circling our vessel. As soon as we're in the water, it seems to just disappear, almost like it's stalking us. Well, we're off to a great start with that close-up portrait, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's back up for a second and learn about our subject. The great white shark is the largest predatory fish in the ocean. Females grow to greater length and mass than males and bear anywhere from 2 to 10 pups in a single pregnancy. Great whites live in all the major oceans, preferring cooler, temperate waters over tropical seas. Adults feed primarily on seals, though they also eat large fish and scavenge on whale carcasses. There is some debate about the maximum size ever recorded, but we do have footage of sharks near 20 feet, including this viral video of Deep Blue, which by some accounts is the largest great white ever filmed. In popular culture, white sharks arguably are the most well-known species, appearing in television shows, music, and films, most famously Steven Spielberg's 1975 blockbuster Jaws. Okay, now that we're experts, we're going to try to capture some more portraits and then go for more challenging shots. I'm using a wide-angle lens with a bit of range so that I can zoom in or out depending on the situation. The sharks are becoming more confident and come in closer. With some patience, we get some nice profile shots. I especially like images that convey movement and attitude. We're at the surface, so most of the shots are with natural light. The downside to strobes is that they're big and cumbersome and there's very little room to maneuver inside a shark cage. If you've watched my other underwater videos, you'd know that my interactions with other types of sharks are in open water without any cages. For these great white encounters, the water is quite deep, and diving in the open leaves us vulnerable to an ambush from below, which is the great white's preferred hunting method. The water is cold, sometimes murky, and the sheer size of these sharks means diving in open water is too risky, so we're going to remain safely inside a shark cage. Scuba divers know we typically add a small amount of weight to our dive gear to help us maintain buoyancy in the water. In a cage, it's completely different. We want much more weight to help with stability and to keep our feet planted. After a short break, we're going to turn up the volume and go for some action shots. The sharks are curious about the cages and the strange humans inside them, but what they're really interested in are the chunks of tuna at the end of the rope. As the sharks go for the tuna, that's where we're most likely to get some action shots. You may not know this, but much of the shark footage you've seen on TV was achieved by using chum or some type of bait. Without something to attract the sharks, they're not very interested in us, and if they show up at all, they're not likely to stick around for very long. While it might seem controversial, responsible baiting occurs in waters where the sharks naturally reside and away from populated beaches. Occasionally the shark steals the bait, but this is not really a feeding. There's not nearly enough nourishment here to replace a shark's meal, and even a big chunk of tuna is really just a tiny snack. Alright, let's get back into the water. The action is thrilling. You can really appreciate how fast they can move when they're determined to get that bait. Sometimes the sharks breach the surface and re-enter the water. These shots require a fast shutter speed and you really have to be quick with the camera. Now we're hoping the commotion attracts other sharks to come by. Maybe we'll get lucky and be able to photograph 2 sharks at once. It's interesting to watch their interactions. Often they'll keep their distance from one another, especially when there's a significant difference in size. If I could have made this shot perfect, there would have been a little bit more separation between the two sharks, but I'll take it. One thing you begin to notice as you spend more time in the water is that sharks have different personalities. This juvenile seems cautious and approaches the bait gingerly, while this feisty male has no fear. This adult female is one of Mexico's most famous and beloved white sharks. Her name is Lucy, and she's instantly recognized by her damaged caudal or tail fin. Lucy has been featured on shark programs multiple times and is a fan favorite. Over the years, people have reached out to me to ask what camera settings they should use when they go diving, and I know it's not the answer they want, but it really depends on the situation. If it's overcast, the settings will be different than if it's a bright sunny day. How deep you dive is also a significant issue, and of course, the visibility and water clarity are major factors. The best advice I can offer is to take test shots when you're in the environment, and then adjust your settings. Typically, I start with these settings and update them as needed. Okay, check it out. A few examples that demonstrate 3 different situations resulting from changes in ambient light, depth, and visibility. This shot is at the surface in sunny conditions and good visibility. This shot is 70 feet below the surface on an overcast day. This example is on a sunny day but with terrible visibility. I avoided strobes here because of the potential for backscatter. If you want to learn more about that, check out my underwater photography videos. This was a throwaway photo initially because conditions were murky and the result was a really low contrast image. Here's the original shot. I gave it a second chance with some editing, just some simple color and contrast adjustments, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. If you'd like to see how I edit my underwater photos, leave a comment and I'll share it with you in another video. Okay, now that we've dried off and warmed up, we're going to have some fun shooting from our boat. For topside shots, I'm switching to a telephoto zoom lens, around 70 to 200 millimeters. We'll definitely need a faster shutter speed to freeze the action. This is the opportunity to get some images of that iconic dorsal fin and maybe another shot of those famous teeth. Let's see what we can get. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this adventure with the amazing great white shark. And as always, I appreciate if you'd subscribe to this channel, follow on Instagram, and visit my website, bdphotographs.com. Thanks for watching.